Airbus has already told its clients that the constant problems with supply chains will cause manufacturing delays, which will hurt the company's promised delivery schedule well into next year. This is true even though the company is already having a lot of trouble getting new planes delivered on time through 2023. Now, people are getting notices of delays. A story from Reuters says that Airbus has already started telling airlines that the A320neo family of planes, which is the company's best-selling plane series, will not be delivered on time in 2024. Because of the delay, hundreds of single-aisle planes will not be delivered for up to 3 months. Airbus has confirmed that, even though it expects unspecified delays for A320neo planes in 2024, these delays do not mean that the company's supply chain problems have gotten worse, since it changed its plans for making its best-selling jets earlier this year. Since the company changed its plans for making its best-selling line of jets earlier this year, it has been having trouble with the supply chain. This set of alerts is the first clear sign for airline clients that Airbus will still be worried about supply shortages after the end of this year. Most of the delays are happening with the A321neo, which is the biggest and most popular type. It is now used for more than half of all Airbus deliveries. In the past few months, airlines and leasing companies have voiced their displeasure in public about short-term delay warnings sent to them by Airbus. This is because the company is still having trouble with its supply chain. Airbus is now giving out more notices ahead of time. A spokesperson from Airbus said, "We have already talked about the effects for 2023 in December, and we are now talking in detail about 2024. This statement was made in answer to a question from Reuters about whether or not the manufacturer was trying to be more proactive about letting customers know about delays. We try to be as open and honest as possible with our customers so they see what is going on. Delays make it harder for airlines to plan their operations. Even though it seems like the delivery delays aren't getting much worse, the problem has been going on for a lot longer than either Airbus or the airlines it works with thought it would. Since it is still unknown when new planes will be delivered, it's much harder for airlines to plan ahead. If airlines don't know when their new planes will be delivered, it's hard, if not impossible, for their operation planning departments to make firm plans for fleet expansion, set start dates for new routes and frequencies, sell extra seats, and hire enough crew to fly the new planes. In the past few weeks, it has become common for planes to rent out extra seats to make up for late deliveries. In answer to Airbus's efforts to keep clients informed about new delivery dates, sources in the airline industry told Reuters that they were still having trouble finding the clarity needed for network planning. Why are Airbus planes taking so much longer to arrive than expected? Along with manufacturers and many other industries, the aerospace sector is still under a lot of pressure because of bottlenecks in the supply lines of important parts that are used in the manufacturing process. But the most recent delays that Airbus is telling customers about don't change the delivery plan for 2023, which has already been cut to 720 deliveries this year. But because of a tough first quarter in 2023, experts in the business world are already questioning whether or not Airbus will be able to reach that goal. Airbus is having trouble getting all of its business aircraft, including the A220 narrow-body jet, to their customers on time. However, the situation is putting the most pressure on the wide-body aircraft deliveries. Because of the delays for 2024, the effects of the COVID-19 outbreak's problems with the supply chain will last for a 5th year. Even with the delays, though, there is still a strong market for Airbus planes. Even though the problem of delivery delays has gotten a lot of attention in the media, both Airbus and Boeing, its main rival, are sure that the market for new planes will stay strong. Even though Boeing is taking a long time to get over the 737 MAX safety crisis and is still having trouble with production delays on the 787 and certification delays on its popular 777X, Airbus has kept its position as the world's biggest commercial aircraft maker. Just the week before last, Boeing told Simple Flying that some 737 orders would be put on hold again because of problems with suppliers. But in the first quarter of 2023, Airbus sales fell below those of Boeing for the first time since Airbus took over the C-Series passenger jet from Canada's Bombardier in 2018 and renamed it the A220. This was the first time in a quarter that Airbus deliveries were less than those of Boeing. Is delay compensation payable? The latest statement from Airbus could spark new arguments among flight passengers about whether or not they should be paid back. Leading makers have always stuck to the legal position that delivery delays caused by suppliers are excusable under the terms of the contract, because the delays are out of their control. This means that customers don't have to pay extra for the late deliveries. But recently, there has been more pressure on the two big players to start paying penalties and stop the clock on inflation adjustment clauses. As a result, both Airbus and Boeing have been trying to explain why they should get more money for delays than the other. A Boeing representative who spoke at a recent conference on airline economics in Dublin, Ireland in January of this year said that increasing production after the pandemic lockdowns was not as easy as flipping a switch, because the suppliers of everything from engines to passenger seats to the smallest parts were all having their own supply chain problems. The Airbus orders have been delayed, and then delayed again, and there is no end in sight. Even though it's clear that Airbus is trying to be more proactive to calm customers' fears and control their expectations about 2024 deliveries, it's also clear that the delays we've seen in new aircraft deliveries over the past few months won't go away overnight. It looks like this will keep the commercial planning offices of airlines busy for a while. More news about the Airbus company. European airplane maker Airbus opened its first service center outside of Europe on Thursday, according to stories from official Chinese media. The center is in the southwest part of China. The Xinhua news agency says that the building was publicly opened on the Wednesday before. The huge aircraft life cycle servicing station, which will be 717,000 square meters, will be able to hold up to 125 planes. Airbus says that the Life Cycle Service Center will have services for parking, storing, maintaining, upgrading, modifying, disassembling, and recycling any airplane. Airbus, Tarmac Aerosave, and Airtropolis Xincheng Group, all of which are based in Chengdu, China, the biggest city and capital of the province of Sichuan, worked together to build the facility. The center shows how many different parts of the aviation business Airbus is involved in China. During the official trip that French President Emmanuel Macron took to China at the beginning of April, Airbus announced that it would build a second production line for its single-aisle A320 airplane at its plant in Tianjin. Tianjin is in the northeastern part of China. Macron went to Beijing with Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury, who said that the assembly line will start working in the second half of 2025. This will allow the company to triple its production in China. Faury was on the same trip as Macron. The Tianjin plant isn't big enough to meet the needs of the Asian giant's business, which make up about 20% of the deliveries made by the European manufacturer. Airbus says that over the next 20 years, air travel in China will grow by an average of 5.3% per year, which is much higher than the average growth rate of 3.6% for the whole world. As a direct result of the French president's trip to China, the Chinese government gave Airbus permission to place an order for 170 single-aisle A320 planes and 10 long-range, double-aisle A350 planes. This was one thing the trip led to. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.